I decided I'm gonna do things a little differently today. The word of today is distraction. I feel like a lot of times we don't really realize it, but a lot of us are addicted to distractions, right? So as you know, a distraction is something that keeps you unfocused on what you should be actually focusing on, right? When I say that we're addicted to distractions, a lot of times we should be focused on getting over certain things, but yet we're focused on distracting ourselves to where we don't have to even think about the things that we should be getting over, right? And I feel like distraction has taken over our world when there's so many things at our fingertips, right? Whether that's shopping, whether that's indulging in social media, traveling, drugs, alcohol, nightlife overall. These things are becoming a super distraction in the time that you should be focusing more on healing, on growing spiritually, on breaking generational curses, on doing a lot of these things, right? But I feel like since we know that we have to do these things, a lot of people are lazy and they try to avoid actually doing these things. And when I say a lot of people, I'm also including myself in this as well, because I don't want to feel like I'm coming off as if I'm better than somebody else, right? Because I'm not. We all have our imperfections. So I often find myself even distracting myself with going to go buy stuff just to try to not have to focus on the real problem that's going on, or the real issues internally that's going on, or whatever we may be whatever we may need to be focusing on. I find ways to try to avoid it, right? So this message is for me as well. But distractions, I want to get back to that. We have to start eliminating the distractions in our life and really start to focus on the things that we need to focus on, because a lot of us are prolonging our growth journey, right? So if you got your heart broken earlier this year and you still finding ways to go out, drink, get high, distract yourself from the reality of things, you are now 10 months behind. You got this, and this is if you get, let's just say you got heartbroken in January. You're now 10 months behind in your healing journey because you decided to distract yourself so you don't have to fully focus on the problem. But guess what? The healing that you didn't do is going to show up in your next relationship. And also, it can also show up in your friendships. It can show up in your work environment. It can show up in a lot of different areas, and we don't really know because we've been distracting ourselves. So with that being said, we now need to focus more on the issues, dig those roots up, because the longer you let the roots grow underground and spread, it's going to be even harder to dig them up down the line when it's time to actually pull up the root of those issues, right? Really zero in on what issues that you should be working on internally and externally, because it can be our physical build, we're not going to the gym, taking care of ourselves properly, which can reflect on the outside. But we really need to zero in on the issues that we should be working on, because at the end of the day, we all getting older. Like I said, those roots are getting deeper. So stop trying to distract yourself. The club's not going nowhere, the mall's not going nowhere, and I'm speaking to myself as well. None of these things are going anywhere. So once you get over the issue, once you work on healing, once you work on breaking those generational curses, you might be surprised to realize that you're not even into this type of stuff. Sometimes we're not even naturally into the stuff we actually entertain it, but we feel like this is during this season of our life, we need to entertain these things. But this is the more broken version of us. This is what the outcome is. We entertain certain things, certain people, certain environments. We entertain these things because we are now at a dimmer version of ourselves. That's the safer way to say it. We had a dimmer version of ourselves, right? And these dimmer version of ourselves is really okay with entertaining these things, right? And I don't want to, keep rambling, but I hope that y'all understand where I'm coming from when I say this stuff, because it's very important. A lot of us are just going through life without even working on ourselves, man. And it's showing in our kids. It's going to show in their kids. Somebody got to be that person that's going to break that cycle. Because a lot of times we doing the stuff we doing because we saw our parents do it. Our parents did it because they saw their parents do it. It's a never-ending cycle. And that's what we label as a generational curse. But that can be broken, and that can start with you. Somebody got to start it. Even if you don't finish it, somebody has to start it. Somebody got to trigger that mindset shift in their kids, so now whatever they ultimate goal was as a parent can now ultimately be completed by the kids. So just start somewhere. That's the best thing I can say, and I'm gonna end the video off at that. Just start with some kind of change and stop distracting yourself. Distraction is what's ultimately keeping you away from the change that you ultimately want. So make sure you stop distracting yourself. It's not gonna be an overnight process. Keep that in mind. But yeah, man, that's all. I'm not gonna keep talking your heads off. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope y'all got something from this video. I will be back soon.